You're watching BionicDance. Don't run on automatic, instead, please think.
Belief and knowledge are mutually exclusive. All knowledge is true, and all beliefs are untrue.
I believe you may be wrong about that. In fact, I know it. Let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers. BionicDance here. Today we're talking about belief versus knowledge. Now, I certainly agree that knowledge trumps belief every time, and I certainly say that beliefs without evidence, or in the face of contradictory evidence, is extraordinarily silly, if not outright stupid. However, this guy goes to quite the opposite extreme, and while I agree with his sentiment, I very much disagree with his premise.
Nothing that anyone has ever believed has ever been true. Not one thing. It's modern atheism.
It should be obvious that this is a steaming pantload. People have certainly believed things that later turned out to have a factual basis. Perhaps they had insufficient data to back it up, but that didn't stop them from having a very reasonable hunch. I'm convinced this is true, they'd say. Just give me a chance to prove it. Belief and truth are not necessarily mutually exclusive, even if the initially held belief so frequently does turn out to not resemble the facts once they're found.
The science of belief-knowledge mutual exclusivity is new, but the understandings of belief-knowledge mutual exclusivity are not new. It has been known for thousands of years that beliefs are not true, but now we can prove it.
Okay, you ready for this one? Here we go.
God is a belief, and therefore God is not true.
Wrong. That God's existence is a belief has no bearing on its truth. The reason we can, with confidence, say that God does not exist is because the claims of God are illogical and frequently fly in the face of quite contradictory evidence. But to say that God isn't real just because people believe rather than having investigated their claims, no. Making that statement is like having faith, belief without evidence, in the other direction.
There are no such things as gods. There's no such thing as magic in this universe or even in a hypothetical universe.
You know, it occurs to me that this video was released on April Fool's Day. It's the only way I can reasonably account for this level of what the fuckery. How could magic not at least potentially exist within a hypothetical universe? Do I gotta point out Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter? But on the off chance that it's not a joke, let's continue.
Belief-knowledge mutual exclusivity makes it possible simply to reject beliefs. That heightens knowledge. It assures knowledge. It makes knowledge more perfect.
But it doesn't. You shouldn't reject beliefs. You should critically examine them. For that matter, if you want to get really, really technical, extremely pedantic, all knowledge is actually belief. You see, facts exist outside of our heads, but both knowledge and belief do not. Sometimes what we think we know is actually false due to a lack of or misinterpretation of data. Our eyes can only see certain colors and distances, our ears can only hear certain frequencies, and we've had to build machines to shore up those limitations. Who knows what else we might be missing? Who knows what might be an illusion? And all of this assumes that we're being rational about what we see and hear. Everything we think we know is a belief. It's just a much more justifiable belief than straight-up faith. But the only way to achieve that justification is to be critical, skeptical, and willing to investigate. Simply rejecting beliefs out of hand is no different than accepting them sight unseen. Facts exist outside of us, independent of us. The best we can hope to do is gather as many as we possibly can and produce the best, most logical, most unbiased conclusion from them, and be willing to revise that conclusion in the face of new data. That's the closest we will ever get to true knowledge. Until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please think.
Ignorance killed the cat. Curiosity was framed.